Well, English winemakers are betting that surging exports can sustain their once novelty product after domestic sales growth showed, hoping for a boost from Britain's warmest summer on record this year as climate change optimized conditions.
English winemakers are toasting the country's warmest summer on record and hoping it's the springboard for a big jump in exports. Wineries that emerged as niche producers in the 1990s are fast growing in size as the conditions for grape growing improve. Production has risen by an average 7% per year since 2000, and it looks set to keep growing, with land dedicated to vines increasing by almost a third just between 2020 and 2024. But English wine isn't cheap, with the biggest brands at $40 or more per bottle, and domestic sales were flat last year. That has producers looking overseas for growth. Brad Greatrix is senior winemaker at Nytimber, one of the country's top wineries.
The UK there's tremendous demand for our wines locally as well, but export is where the real growth is in the coming period.
Days before this year's crop of grapes was brought in, English vineyards got another timely boost. A sparkling wine from the country beat French champagne to win one of the industry's top awards. That's the kind of thing that helps boost the profile of English wine in export markets like Japan, China and Norway. At this brasserie in Oslo, sommelier Alexander Iversen says customers are getting a taste for the product.
They are quite curious and surprised that they produce wine in England. And then you talk about how they've done it in the 60s, and actually since the Roman age, and the legionnaires didn't want to go to a place if it weren't possibility to either do wines or olives. And then they suddenly get very curious, moving up a bit, and then when they try it, they are sold.
Norway tops the list of buyers by volume. Since 2015, its imports of English wine have gone from a mere 451 litres to over 111,000 litres last year. Investors and wine companies have woken up to the potential, with producers from the US, Australia and France all snapping up land in England suitable for vines. But climate change could yet prove a mixed blessing for winemakers. Though temperatures are on the up, so are unpredictable weather events. Persistent wet weather in 2024, for example, slashed output by a half. Even so, the years ahead look like they could be a vintage period for English wine.